You're watching Capital Connection from the Illinois State Capitol.
1 in 4 veterans who lived at the state-run Veterans Home in LaSalle are dead. Nearly 9 in 10 were infected with COVID-19, and investigations from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs revealed how protocols to protect those veterans were weak, ineffective, or in some cases ignored outright. The findings and their tragic consequences enraged Republicans who said the governor should be more responsible, especially after he campaigned against a governor for mismanaging a Legionnaire's outbreak at the Quincy Veterans Home. Joining me now is State Senator Tom Cullerton from his state Senate offices in Villa Park, Illinois, a veteran of the U.S. Army who chaired Senate hearings into this LaSalle Veterans outbreak of COVID-19. Senator, good to have you with us. We want to review sort of what happened here. It was at the hearing that you held where we learned that the hand sanitizer they installed didn't even work to stop COVID-19, didn't stop the spread of it. The staff were attending Halloween parties and going back to work with a very elderly patient population. The state health inspectors didn't even show up for 11 days after the first outbreak began there, and we're already 9 months into this pandemic. What exactly broke down here?
So we're not totally positive exactly everything that broke down. Obviously, the utilization of hand sanitizer that was non-alcohol based is an issue, and I know that Director Chapalavia and her staff have been pushing on making sure that they're up to date on all the CDC recommendations. Sorry if we get a ding here every so often; it may just happen. The other thing is the Halloween party. I can't really speak to. I don't necessarily know what the whole surrounding of that was, but obviously we would have liked to seen DPH out there a lot sooner. But we're going to get a full investigation into this. We're obviously going to hold a couple more hearings, but we're definitely going to get an outside. The Inspector General's coming in and already started an investigation, and we should hopefully get those results within the next month or two. In the meantime, we in the Senate will hold committee hearings. When we first started talking about this at the beginning of the month, myself and Senator Schimpf, who is my counterpart on the Republican side in the Veterans Affairs Committee, the two of us decided to hold a hearing and start talking to the director and to also get DPH, Illinois Department of Public Health, in front of us and chat with them about if they have the full synopsis of what the breakdown was and what we could do going forward to sort of mitigate this so that we don't see it not only in LaSalle, but we can prevent it in other homes. And this is sort of a rough thing that's happened in veteran homes all throughout the country. If you've noticed some of the stats, Massachusetts, Missouri, New Jersey, they have had some massive outbreaks there as well. So I'm hoping we can get control of it. As of right now, there are 29 deaths at the LaSalle Veterans Home, and it's absolutely heartbreaking to think that this occurred and to think that we need to find a way to stop it from going forward and also have it not occur at any of the other homes that are under our care here in the state of Illinois.
I do want to get your input on this. One of the big conversations the legislature was preparing to have in person before they were sidelined in March and scattered to go back across the state was about ethics in government. At the time, Governor Pritzker said that anybody who was under indictment should resign. You disagreed with that. Why?
So obviously, I can't really talk too much about what's going on with my stuff as it's all pending.
But on the issue of remaining in public office while under indictment, can you speak to that?
I probably shouldn't speak to that per what my lawyer had said with pending litigation.
Okay. And I understand. I was informed that you couldn't speak about your case. The feds brought an indictment. You've pleaded not guilty to this issue. Can you evaluate what's happening in the House with Speaker Madigan? Because the feds are bringing cases against, in fact, just this week, 4 of his inner circle were named and indicted, and they entered pleas of not guilty as well in this ComEd corruption case. One of the central charges there was that interns or people were given jobs or given favors to be on the payroll without doing much for it. that seems to be a habit, or at least the feds are making that case, that people connected in politics would land on a payroll there. How do you evaluate that, and what do you think of a culture that allowed that to happen?
So, as I've watched, obviously everybody else has watched what's going on with the ComEd case. Obviously, not all the facts are out. Not everything has come out yet. And realistically, it's a lot of speculation. So I'm assuming that we'll learn more as the case goes on, and we'll learn more as the House does their, similar to what we're doing in the veterans organization, and the House does their investigation as well, that's being led by Representative Welch.
All right, well, Senator, thank you for joining us, and we hope to stay in touch and see where this goes from here.
All right, thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
When we come back, Congressman Adam Kinzinger. That's next.